Chapter 9. The Emancipation Proclamation. When we arrived back in 1862, there was one thing on my mind. How much time is left? I asked Jacob. He checked the watch and answered, 16 minutes. Abraham Lincoln turned to me. What does 16 minutes mean? Your cabinet said they would wait for you. But they are leaving in 16 minutes. I answered. You could have told me that earlier. Abraham Lincoln shouted. He was running toward the White House. I ran after him. You wouldn't listen. I argued. You should have made me listen. Abraham Lincoln said. He had such long legs, I had to take 3 steps for every one of his. We got to the White House in record time. Abraham Lincoln stopped so suddenly, Jacob crashed into his back. How can I issue the Emancipation Proclamation and free the Southern slaves without a military victory? He asked, helping Jacob up. No one will listen to me. Bo raised his right hand. I swear to you the North wins at Antietam. I know it for a fact. I trust you, Abraham Lincoln replied. But how are we going to convince my executive cabinet? William Seward will never believe I went to the future, and he is the one advising me to wait. Abraham Lincoln rubbed his beard. Bo scratched his chin. I wonder why the telegram from Antietam hasn't come yet. I remembered that telegrams have to be issued from a telegraph office. Maybe there isn't a telegraph office near Antietam, I suggested. It could have taken a few days for someone to walk to one. It has happened before, Abraham Lincoln said, still stroking his beard. Sometimes they know about our defeats before I do. Soldiers talk to reporters. Days later, I get the official telegram. Zach stretched his legs. Go to the meeting. I'll run to the War Department and check the latest telegrams. He bent low, getting ready. He's a good runner, I assured the president. He's the fastest boy in the whole 3rd grade. He even has a medal to prove it. You better hurry, Jacob advised. No problem. Zach took off. We rushed through the entry of the White House and bounded up the stairs. In his office, Abraham Lincoln took the Emancipation Proclamation out of his desk drawer. Then he said he needed a book. I cannot read the Emancipation Proclamation without it. He described the cover and told us the book was Artemus Ward. We didn't understand why it was so important, but if he wasn't going to read the Emancipation Proclamation without it, we were going to help. We rushed around the office, looking for the book. I found it in a basket under a pile of papers. I didn't look at it. I just handed it to the president. Then Zach ran in. He was out of breath. You made it, Jacob said, giving his brother a big slap on the back. 10 minutes to go. Zach handed President Lincoln a big stack of telegraph messages. Abraham Lincoln read through them, dropping each one on the floor as he went. A defeat, he said, crumpling up a message. No, he read another. No. 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 3 more hit the floor. And just when we were starting to worry, he found it. Bully, he exclaimed, waving a telegram in the air. We won at Antietam. He shook Bo's hand. You were right. We won 5 days ago on September 17th. The telegraph was delayed. He reread the message. I am going to have to talk to General McClellan. He made a grave mistake not pursuing the Southern Army. He tucked the telegram in his pocket. I'll speak to him tomorrow. Today I am too busy. Today I am going to free the Southern slaves. We followed Abraham Lincoln into the executive cabinet room. All the men were gathering their papers, preparing to leave. Sit. Abraham Lincoln commanded. Everyone fell back into chairs. Except us. We stood behind the president. He took out the book we'd found. It turned out to be a book of jokes. And he read out loud a silly story. I wanted to wave at him, tell him to skip the story. We didn't have time. But President Lincoln loved jokes. And now that he didn't feel sad anymore, he wanted to tell a joke. He was the president and knew what he was doing, so I bit my bottom lip and waited. And when he was done joking around, President Lincoln did the most important thing he'd ever do. He issued the Emancipation Proclamation. Afterward, we rushed up to President Lincoln. "You have changed the world," I said. "You made America great," Zach added. Bo gave President Lincoln back his coins. "We don't need these," Bo said. Jacob handed Abraham Lincoln the letter of resignation. "We don't need this either." Abraham Lincoln shook hands with each boy. Then he gave me a hug. "Thank you," he said. "You're welcome," I replied. And then, before I could stop myself, I said, "You should stay away from Ford's Theater." I knew I shouldn't say anything, but my heart hurt thinking that this great man was going to be assassinated. "But I love the theater," Abraham Lincoln said with a puzzled look. "I hear they have good theater in New York," I replied. "Maybe you could go there instead." He smiled and said he'd think about it. But I knew he'd go to Ford's Theater on April 14, 1865, and his incredible life would be cut short. History was back on track. And we had time to spare. With a minute to go. We left the room and returned to Abraham Lincoln's office. Jacob pulled the cartridge out of the computer. We were excited to go back to school and tell Mr. C what we had done. And at the same time, we were sorry to say goodbye. It had been a great adventure. The green hole opened in the floor next to the president's desk. Jacob and Zach jumped in first. As the hole was closing, Bo turned his head to take one last look at the men from his books. "He's writing it down, you know," he said to me. We held hands, ready to jump. "Writing what?" I asked. I turned my head to look where Bo was looking. Through the open door, I could see Abraham Lincoln sitting at the long neat ing table. While the men chattered around him, he was writing on the back of an envelope. The same envelope that held his letter of resignation. "What is he writing?" I asked Bo. The hole was shrinking. The green fog was getting thinner. "The beginning of the Gettysburg Address," he answered. "Should we stop him?" I asked. Abraham Lincoln really shouldn't be writing the Gettysburg Address before the Battle of Gettysburg, should he? Bo just shrugged. And together we jumped.